Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Thought Leaders Lounge, an ongoing conversation with Family Compass. I'm your host, Chad Black, and today I'm so very excited to welcome award-winning registered dietitian nutritionist, Family Compass supporter, and friend of the agency, Neva Cochran.
Hi, Chad.
Hi, Neva.
I am so glad to be here.
I'm glad that you're here too. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you originally from Dallas?
No. Actually, my dad was a pilot in the Air Force. And so I lived 8 places by the time I was 8 years old. And 2 of those were actually outside of the United States. I lived in England for 3 months, and then we lived in Tripoli, Libya, in North Africa for 2 years. And that was where I had my first memories. That was from 2 to 4 years old. So it was an interesting experience, but a little bit daunting for a child just having to move around so much. So when I was in 3rd grade, we landed at an Air Force base.
Pun intended.
Yeah, not really, but just outside of Waco in Central Texas. And my mom actually grew up, on a farm and ranch that was just south of Waco. Okay. So I had like 5.5 years there. Yeah. And then my father retired from the Air Force. He had another career, and that was in Oklahoma City. We lived in Norman, where the University of Oklahoma is. Yep. So I went to high school, and then I went on to college at the University of Oklahoma, where I majored in dietetics and nutrition. Wow. And I also joined or was pledged by Kappa Delta sorority. So that's kind of a connection I have with Family Compass. And then I came to Dallas for my dietetic internship at what was then Presbyterian Hospital of Dallas. And then I have lived and worked in Dallas ever since then. So my whole career has been here. And, and I became active in my Kappa Delta Richardson Plano alumni chapter about a little over 30 years ago. So been involved with, I've very much been a leader in my profession, a volunteer in my profession, as well as with Kappa Delta, both at the local and the national level. I was on the board of the National Kappa Delta Foundation for 3 years.
That's amazing. Yeah. So we love the Kappa Deltas. We love you all so much. And we're going to talk about all of that here in just a minute. But kind of just to dive in just to a little bit deeper, with your career as a nutrition communications consultant, you're obviously very passionate about families having safe access to nutritious food, resources, things like that. Can you tell us like a little bit more about that and kind of what has driven you to focus on that in your career?
Yes. I worked in a variety of positions as a registered dietitian nutritionist throughout the years, as I said, in the Dallas area. And the last 20, 25 years, I've really focused on nutrition communication. So I partner with and contract with organizations, companies, and commodity groups that deal with food, nutrition, and agriculture. So what I do is try to take the guilt out of eating, because there's so much misinformation out there about food and nutrition and ingredients. So my brand is called Eating Beyond the Headlines. So I try to dispel misinformation and promote enjoyment of eating, not fear of food. Wow. And so I, have always believed in the power of good nutrition in helping everyone to have a healthier life. And this is particularly applicable to children, because children, food and nutrition is so important to their growth and development, both, physically, mentally, emotionally, and families are really key to that, because families eating together with a meal, there's actually studies that have shown family meals promote, conversational skills, social skills. They have better nutrition, and they also perform better in school. So there's so many benefits of eating meals together as a family. So I think the key here is family. And that's kind of my connection between what I do professionally and what I do personally in my, advocacy work for different organizations. And I think of families, and what Family Compass does for families is so important in promoting the growth, development, and the emotional and, spiritual and physical health of children and families.
Yeah. I love that. And I think you kind of gave me a segue here. So I really appreciate that. Yeah. To me, I could see how that's an easy transition into maybe why you give back, because you really do. You do a lot. You really, really do.
Well, thank you.
Do you think that was a driving force into into the kind of the philanthropy work that you do?
There's a lot of things. My mother was a great role model. My mother, from, as long as I can remember, was involved in every organization in church. She was in community organizations too. So I had her as a role model. Also, Kappa Delta sorority in college. Two of the things that they really stress are leadership and service. And so I did that in college, both within Kappa Delta and outside on campus organizations. So when I got into my career, it was just natural from my very first job to be involved. I've been a leader and a volunteer in my profession my entire career. I can think maybe 1 year I didn't have some kind of committee or chair or president of something. And the same thing with Kappa Delta. When I got involved, I was active in my chapter in college, but after I became involved with the alumni chapter, I've been very involved with that. So there's so much in both of those. There's so much service. And I was on the board of the foundation board for the National Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Right. We have a program called Kids Eat Right. And so I was involved when I was chair. That was being launched. Okay. And so it's all about kids. Kappa Delta has their kids program and they have the kids grants. And so we as a alumni chapter have actually applied for and secured several grants for Family Compass to do various things with family. So I think it's a combination of what I learned in college through Kappa Delta, my mother is a role model, and just I feel so good when I see that I can be part of a group or an organization that's making a difference in people's lives. And I think women and children are one of my primary focus in what I do, because I feel like sometimes they're kind of forgotten. And I really believe so much that, I've been so blessed in my life, both personally and professionally, that it's just natural for me to want to help other people.
Yeah. Well, I can say just from Family Compass, we sure do appreciate that help.
Thank you.
And everything that you do individually, and certainly everything that you do with the Richardson Plano Kappa Delta alumni chapter, who we've worked with for so many years. And the work that you all do with us, the way that you support us, in so many different ways, is really, really impactful. So truly grateful for that. Now for a message from Evolve Support. Evolve Support is an industry-leading information technology services company based in North Texas. Whether you've just started your own business or have been in the market for years, taking care of your IT needs can be complicated and exhausting. Evolve Support believes that your IT requirements should be supported by experienced professionals. With many decades of combined experience, their team has the practical knowledge and expertise to deliver all your technology needs. With a comprehensive range of seamlessly integrated, effective, and sustainable services, Evolve Support can guarantee your technology needs are not just met, but exceeded. Should you need proactive network monitoring and management, internet and network security, backup and disaster recovery, antivirus and anti-malware, Microsoft 365 services, VoIP phones, PCs, laptops, servers, and more. Give us the opportunity to provide you with a custom solution to all your IT needs. Visit evolvesupport.com today to get started. I'm assuming because of that, because of that connection with the Kappa Deltas, that kind of drew you to Family Compass.
Yes. One thing I didn't mention is that Donna Stone, who was a Kappa Delta member, was the founder of Prevent Child Abuse America. That was about 40 years ago. And so when she did that, Kappa Delta nationally took on child abuse prevention as one of its national philanthropies. So all the local chapters, both the alumni chapters and the collegiate chapters, are asked each year to do some type of a fundraising event to support child abuse prevention. And 20% of what we raise goes back to the National Kappa Delta Foundation to then be given to Prevent Child Abuse America. 80%, it stays in the local community to be given to a local agency that does child abuse prevention work. And so Family Compass, and the predecessor that we worked with, which was Family Outreach of Richardson and Family Outreach of Collin County, before it was became a part of Family Compass. So we have really been working with them for 40 years.
That's incredible.
As a group. And, our efforts have just expanded over the years as we've grown.
Yeah. So for those out there maybe not in the know, Family Compass actually kind of acquired, in a way, I guess we could say that, the agency that was in Collin County, that was about to close, and we were fortunately enough able to bring them on under us. So now they're actually a part of Family Compass, and we got this great relationship too out of it, which I can't say that enough, how grateful we are for y'all, because of the way you really show up for not just for Family Compass, but specifically for these families and these children that we're fortunate enough to serve. So I hope you, as a representative today, and everyone out there listening knows what impactful that work, just how impactful it is to us. So.
Yeah, and I remember when we were working with Family Outreach, they had one caseworker, and now I see like all that you are able to do with a much more resources and support. That it's amazing. You are really working on child abuse prevention. There's so much out there that's after the fact, after there's all the abuses occurred. But what we really want to do and what you do is catch it before, so that there is like, families that are at risk. And, I don't think child abuse has a demographic. Child abuse and neglect can go over, any socioeconomic race, color, creed. Absolutely. But, the people that are at risk, sometimes have more challenges, lower socioeconomic. But, the good thing is we have Family Compass, and we have you to catch them before they get into the Child Protective Services or the foster care system. And it's really just, it's so good because I see what you're doing with resources and education to stop it before it happens. And that's what we have to do in all walks of life. We want to prevent rather than have the consequences of, whether it's bad nutrition or poor parenting, you know?
Exactly. So yes, I absolutely agree with you. One other thing, I do want to mention this, but one other thing that you did for us, which was a pretty major step for us this past year, was you helped us create a brand new legacy circle.
Yes.
A giving circle, which is called Champions for Family.
Yes.
Can you give us just a little bit more information about that and kind of what that means?
Well, I wanted to bring more attention to Family Compass and the work that it does, and give other people an opportunity to support it. So I feel like by creating this giving circle, it allows, people to know how committed I am to the agency, as well as like, oh, Neva's involved. Maybe I need to do this. Let me look. And actually, that's already happened since I created this, and we had an event at my house last fall. And I just want to people to know more about the work that you do and encourage people to give. So I want people to think, if they're able to, at a higher level than they sometimes do. Now, obviously, everybody can't give at a higher level, but I do want people to think big.
Absolutely.
Because there is a big need.
I like that. I'm going to steal that from you totally.
But one thing I stress in all of my fundraising is there are many ways to give. And so if you can't give like a big amount at one time, you could do like a little bit a month. And there are ways that you can set it up, and it's just automatically deducted every month or charged to your credit card. And it's amazing how that adds up.
I love it. I'm going to take you everywhere that I go now. So thank you for saying that, because it's true. It absolutely is true. And that's what we're grateful for, to have, a legacy circle like Champions for Family, certainly, but also to have the option for those, like you just said, who can't, that can still come in and be impactful as well. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I always try to drive that point home. So, and this past year, we host our annual North Star Luncheon every April in honor of kind of recognizing Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. And this past year, we were able to recognize you as our North Star Award recipient. And I have to say that was kind of a no-brainer.
Oh,
we were talking about it, and I'm like, there's literally nobody else I think that's as deserving of this as Neva, because you've just come through for us and supported us in such great ways. So we're just truly, truly thankful. So thanks for all that you've done around that and everything that you do.
Thank you. I mean, I'm just so honored. I was shocked when you called and told me. I just thought,
you were like, oh, okay.
Really? Oh my. No, I'm so honored, and anything I can do. I always look at these as a way to showcase Family Compass. Like, oh, look, Neva's involved with that. Maybe we should get involved. So I have a lot of friends out there in all different walks of life. And, I'm always trying to pull them into my causes.
Absolutely. And people love you, obviously, and they listen to you. I was talking with our CEO, Ona Foster, about you not too long ago. And we were talking. I said, do you know what Neva is? I said, she is such a fabulous connector.
Yes.
That's what you do. And I think it's a gift. Not everyone can do that, but you do it so well. And you've already done so much for us that's just made a huge, huge difference. So I hope you know that.
Well, thank you. Yes, I am known far and wide in my profession as the connector.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for the work that you do, not just with Family Compass, but beyond. We're really grateful to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chad, and all of you at Family Compass. Thank you for all the wonderful work you do. It's so much fun to work with y'all.
Thank you. We feel the same about you. And with that, we're going to leave you with a quote as we let you out back into the world. This quote is from Coretta Scott King, and she says, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate action of its members." And I couldn't agree more, especially with today's guests. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Thought Leaders Lounge. Stay tuned for the next episode coming out in a couple of weeks. Subscribe to Thought Leaders Lounge on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. Find the latest agency updates on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all at Family Compass. See you next time.